Hi. I wanted to make this video because I've been thinking. And this time I've been thinking about my bucket list. And the reason I've been thinking about my bucket list is because I've reached a stage in my life where I'm taking stock of where I'm at, what the future might look like, and how I'm going to plan for it. If you've seen my previous videos, you might already know that I've decided it's time to reinvent myself. Because my children are grown up, I'm thinking ahead to retirement, and I want to feel clear about the direction I want to be going in, rather than just blindly carrying on the way things already are. I do like my current life, but some things are coming to an end, so I need to make sure that I'm ready for those changes and that I'm looking ahead to different things in my life to fill any gaps, if I decide I don't want to leave them as gaps. And that's where I think a bucket list will be useful, because I don't know what I want to achieve during the rest of my life, and if I don't feel clear about that, I don't know where to start when I'm looking for a new direction. Will I need a lot of money for what I want to do, or maybe not much? Are there things I can start doing now, even while I'm still working full time, to start getting me in the right mindset? And are there things I need to start doing now because they might not be suitable for an older person? So it's those kind of things that I want to think about so that I know how I need to prepare and what order I might need to work on them. But I can't know any of that until I actually have a bucket list. So I thought it would be a good idea to make a video so that I can look at the process of how to make a bucket list, and then hopefully make a start on actually creating a list that I can keep refining over the weeks and months and years ahead. And it definitely gives me a bit of a fizz of excitement knowing that this is all about me. I'm really not used to viewing my life like that, and it feels quite strange, but also quite exciting. I'm much more used to thinking about things from a practical point of view, like what would work well for the family, or how to solve a problem without causing too much disruption. So the idea of creating some disruption to do things just because I want to feels quite indulgent. I do still have a family, and I'm not thinking that I'll do this entirely on my own, but I do think that we should each have our own bucket lists, and then hopefully there'll be some overlap. Or we can maybe agree to join in with each other's ideas if we like the sound of it too. So I did initially think that it would be easy to create a bucket list, so I wasn't planning to make a video about it. But then when I sat down to do it, I got a bit stuck. I thought I would just think of a few things and make a note of them. I mean, it sounds simple enough, but I just seemed to be going a bit blank and coming up with more questions than ideas. Do I aim big or keep my expectations low? Do I put budget first or work that out afterwards? Isn't it better to just be happy with what you already have? And if I admit that I want something, will I then be disappointed if I can't have it? Maybe I should just wait and see what fate has in store for me. So I think maybe the bucket list question is a bit too big for me, and I need to break it down into something a bit more approachable to help me get started. And it isn't about not liking my life how it is now, it's about being more aware that I won't be here forever, and I won't be young-ish forever, so it's time to get serious about the things that I might regret at the end of my life if I never get to do them. So I went looking for some advice and suggestions, and thanks to the power of the internet, that was quite easy to do. And I was pleased with what I found. I found some questions that were much easier to answer, and that really helped me to stop feeling stuck and to actually start making some progress. So the first question was to think about what are my most important values that I want to focus on in the future. And it's quite a broad subject with plenty of options to choose from, like travel, adventure, creativity, skills, experiences, family, health, spirituality, community, fun, legacy. There's all sorts to choose from. So I decided to start by choosing 5 values in the hope that it would be a good amount of variety. I mean, I did quite like the sound of all of the ones I just mentioned, but I decided to narrow it down to the 5 that I think sound the most appealing to me. And those are travel, health, skills, experiences, and legacy. And I think it's great to think that I can use those as the basis of planning for my future. And then the next suggestion was to spend a few minutes brainstorming ideas that could be connected to each of those categories. So that was definitely a bit trickier because it started to get more specific. It was helpful though because it encouraged me to generate some ideas and also to see that there was quite a lot of overlap in some of those 5 values. So maybe I could use that as a way to prioritise, that if an idea falls into more than one of those values that I chose, then it might be more impactful to put on my list. So to give you an idea, some of the specific things that I came up with were to try learning to paint, to spend time writing poetry, ideally humorous poetry, to go to more live music events, to visit some fancy hotels, even if just to have a drink, to watch more comedy at home or live events, to own less stuff, to build stronger muscles, to travel on the Rocky Mountaineer, to visit more places in the UK, especially Scotland and Wales, to learn how to play the guitar, to have a ride on a motorbike, maybe a Harley Davidson, to join a canoeing club, to learn how to do YouTube a bit better and make more creative videos, to visit New Zealand, but with some other mini trips to help break up that journey, and to put together a story of my life with photos and stories from all the big milestones. So I feel like that's quite a good start, but my brain is definitely still working on it, and I definitely think the list will keep changing. I just wanted to at least have a starting point. And then the next step was to add a bit more detail about why those things matter to me and what the current status of them are. So for an example, the learning to paint matters because other members of my family can paint and I want to find out if I can. Plus it might be good for my health. And the current status is no action taken. Visiting more places in the UK matters because I want to get to know this country a bit better and to see more of the amazing scenery and learn about the history. The current status is mostly only trips to London because that always seems like the obvious choice. And I think I could start working on this one straight away and could definitely achieve something by the end of this year. So I need to go through and do that with all of the ideas that I've had so far and then decide which areas need a bit more thought. And apparently repeatable goals can bring a higher sense of satisfaction, so I definitely want a few of those included. And I think the goal about visiting more places in the UK is a good example of that. I can be making steady progress on that one all the time, and it should be fairly easy to keep adding to it. And if one day I decide that I don't want to do it anymore, I'll just make a note of why I feel like that so that I can see that I didn't just give up, I reassessed what my most important goals were. So that's where I've got to so far, and I feel quite pleased about it. It's giving me something new to think about, and I'm enjoying that. I've also been asking other people if they've thought about their bucket lists, and if they have, what do they have on it? I think it will be a while before I settle with a version that I'm happy with, but when I do, I think I'll plan to revisit the list maybe 2 or 3 times a year to see whether I want to change anything and to update the status of each of the goals. And maybe each time I mark one as finished, I should use that as a trigger to come up with another one, because I don't suppose it should ever come to an end, even if the goals start getting smaller as you get older. And I like the idea of always being planning for something new or looking ahead to something exciting that I still want to try. I think everyone should have a bucket list, and I probably should have done this sooner, but at least I'm doing it now. And I hope that you've taken some inspiration from this video if you don't already have one of your own. And if you do have a bucket list already, how did you go about creating it, and have you ticked any of the things off yet? I would love to know if you would like to leave a comment. So I hope you've taken something useful from this video, but I think that's all for this time. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!